Hey everybody, Michael A. Grimm here. This is not. I'm just gonna do a little bit of update to you folks. Some of you are wondering why I haven't been doing any videos after Halloween. It was because due to certain weathers and things are getting pretty cold. As you can see, I'm wearing my shirt. But of course, I'll explain why I'm wearing an army hat, army vest, army shirt, and army pants. It's a part of this show I'm gonna do, and And sadly, it turns out that I gone through a security problem on my Facebook account. So now I cannot. I had gone through the questions and did convince them that I'm not a robot. But now I've been no longer able to go to my Facebook account. It pretty much forced me to get myself into a Twitter account. So for those you, and I'm also on Instagram as well, as you can see on my YouTube page, my main YouTube channel. Any of you who wants to find me on Twitter or on Instagram, here are the infos. As you can see on Instagram, I'm called Grim3906, and on Twitter, I'm called Michael A. Grimm11. You can't miss it. I also made a thumbnail for them on my YouTube channel. So, for any of you who cannot contact me on Facebook, I'll try to contact me on Twitter and on Instagram. And although I don't check my Instagram that often, but I do check it once in a while. And I'll probably check on my Twitter until I can finally get back on my Facebook. So, thank you for watching and enjoy the show. Can you believe this? Most of the humans in this comic book are just so judgmental. They tried to shoot him, execute him, until they find a better way to do in order to get rid of him, is put him in the rocket ship and drift him up into space. What a bunch of bastards. Oh, hey everybody. In case you're wondering that I've been reading my Creature Commando, well, I love Creature Commando. And for those of you who haven't seen my Creature Commando review, I'm going to put a link down in the bottom so you guys can check out my my review of Creature Commando. And you know, speaking of Creature Commando, this is something I'm going to do. Oh, and I almost forgot the intro. Hello, I am Michael A. Grimm, aka Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, this is going to be something very, very different here. You see, folks, I've been doing a lot of reviews and crossover theories and even a few top 10s, but here is something I never tackled before. Now, one thing I did do is I briefly did this on some of my review, but I didn't focus more on all the casts or anything. So for today's show, I'm gonna do, folks, is what I call multicasting. I think he'll play him. Multicasting is something that I been planning for like a week ago. The reason why I'm doing this is because I had a unique idea that I think it would be pretty awesome to see. One thing I have heard, though, is that, you know me, I love DC superheroes. And of course, as you can tell, Creature Commando is my favorite, is one of my favorite DC group of heroes, even though they're monsters, but they fight to save the human race. And one thing the Creature Commando and the X-Men have in common is that they're monsters and people judge them before they get to know them. And I always find that to be a real pain there. Of course, I hear a lot of people tell me about Doom Patrol are a lot like the X-Men, but why judge on people with superpowers when you can judge a monster by their appearance? I never understood that. Anyway, now I do enjoy certain shows that I saw on the Arrowverse series. For those of you who don't know what Arrowverse, it started from that TV show Arrow, which is actually based from Green Arrow, and they did some spin-off like The Flash, Supergirl, um Legend of Tomorrow, and they brought in Constantine involved, and they also made a new spin-off called Batwoman. And I do have a lot of high hopes for the CW series of DC superhero series. But one thing I have heard though is this. I heard that since Netflix kicked all the Marvel superheroes because they made a new website channel for Disney called Disney Plus, and you can easily find DC superheroes on Netflix as well, until all of a sudden, now there is another channel called HBO Max. And I hear that HBO Max is going to be doing some DC superhero series on it. I mean, a friend of mine told me that they're going to do a DC superhero series of a black girl, which her name escapes me. But I also heard that they're going to be planning a new Green Lantern series, and it's going to be a live-action series of Green Lantern. But the big problem of that is that it's going to be created and directed by the same guy who directed the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie. Out of all the directors, why him? It's like hiring Joel Schumacher to do the new Batman movie. It's going to be a disaster. But with that said, I think there's another series that I think HBO Max should do. And you know what I'm talking about. I think they should do Creature Commando, but make it more modern and have our main hero who is on the team, and the main hero is Frankenstein. Now, I know what you're saying. Frankenstein is the name of the scientist, not the monster. But in this comic book, he decided to name himself after the scientist. Now, one thing you should know about the character Frankenstein is this. Frankenstein, he's kind of like Professor Hulk from the Avengers Endgame. So he'll be big and strong and green, but he'll be saying a couple of intellectual things. And he also has electricity coming out of his fingertips. He carries guns and pistols, and also carries a sword, which some were saying that the sword was owned by the Archangel himself, Michael. And the show, I think they should have called it, I mean, the picture I'm showing you here is called Frankenstein and the Creature of the Unknown. But to me, if you ask me, if they're going to make a series of it, they should call it Frankenstein and the Creature Commandos. It'll work. It will work. And in the story, you have a bunch of monsters. I mean, the comic book started back in 1980, and they were battling against Nazis during World War II. And then when they brought the Creature Commando back on around 2000, which that reminds me, I should find the graphic novel, A Creature Commandos, made in, the 2000 series of the Creature Commando. But anyway, also added with Frankenstein involved, since he is like the New 52 and the Rebirth hero. You see, I think Frankenstein should be like the leader of the group. He battled against the Nazis, battled against sea creatures, and also Lovecraftian creatures who wants to destroy the human race. So it's up to Frankenstein and the group of monsters called the Creature Commando to stop him. Now let's get to the casting, shall we? Now, like I said about Frankenstein, kind of think of him as Hellboy with a archangel sword, machine guns, and electricity coming out of him, and always battling against hordes of Nazis and also some Lovecraftian creatures. Now, the actor who I think will be perfect to play Frankenstein, at first I thought it would be Ron Perlman, but I was thinking probably Ron Perlman might be very tired playing Frankenstein-like monsters. I mean, after all, he did Hellboy, and he did a really good job playing Hellboy. But the actor I think will be a lot better to play Frankenstein is somebody who played Hellboy pretty good, but the movie didn't go well. And the actor I think would be perfect to play him is none other than David Harbour. Now, I remember him on Stranger Things, and of course, he did a pretty good job playing Hellboy. I mean, sometimes he makes me think of Ron Perlman, but I mean, I thought that the reboot version of Hellboy was Ron Perlman, but actually it was this guy. He did a really good job. He's a perfect actor, and I think he can pull off playing Frankenstein. Try to imagine him with scars, bolts, and carrying a sword, a machine gun on both hands, all green and all, because that's what Frankenstein looks like. Now, the main hero is no better without another character. Now, the other character I think who should be involved is, of course, Frankenstein's on-again, off-again wife, called Lady Frankenstein. And that's her kissing Frankenstein right there. Now, as you can see, Lady Frankenstein, she was created to be the bride to Frankenstein, and they both ended up together. They both love each other because they're both the same kind of species. They're electrical zombies, to be precise. And one thing that make her so different is she has 4 arms. I guess a lot of weapons to carry. Now, the sad thing about the character, Lady Frankenstein, is that she was married to Frankenstein until she had a child, an offspring between Frankenstein and Lady Frankenstein. But sadly, their child, called the spawn of Frankenstein, he went completely evil and mad and started to kill a lot of innocent people. So, Frankenstein, he had no choice but to kill him. And even though she was shocked at what he'd done, she decided to turn his back against him and went off on her own. Now, they both have like a on-again, off-again relationship. They both do love each other, but the problem is, to her, is that every time when she gets back together with Frankenstein, she keeps thinking about her son and think it's going to happen all over again. So that's why, I mean, I seen in some of the comic books, Frankenstein proved to her that he still loved her because he still kept the ring on his finger. But Lady Frankenstein, she reached into her pocket. She has the ring in her pocket, but never put it on, and she dropped it on the ground. So Frankenstein would pick it up, and she left. Now, she only shows up if Frankenstein do need help, though. So I think a perfect actress would be perfect to play the bride. And it's the one I had a huge crush ever since I saw her in Labyrinth. And the actress who I think will be playing Lady Frankenstein is none other than Jennifer Conroy. Now, I do see some potential. I mean, can you imagine her looking like the Bride of Frankenstein, but with 4 arms? I mean, it's different. I mean, I think she'll be perfect to play Lady Frankenstein. I mean, this actress haven't had any breaks lately. I mean, she appeared in a lot of R-rated films and such, and she had appeared in a couple of movies where she did okay. And heck, I know what some people are saying. She played Betsy Ross on that Hulk movie, which that movie Hulk bombed badly. But if she plays the Bride of Frankenstein, and she'd been through a lot. I mean, she could pull off a character who lost her son and loves Frankenstein, but still reminds herself about her son and always keeps putting Frankenstein in a distance. Always keep putting him in the friend zone. And I think Jennifer Connelly, I mean, she would do. I mean, I think she'll be perfect to play the bride. I think it would be good. Now, here's another character I think would be pretty odd. Father Time. Father Time, he is a really odd immortal in a way. And in the comic book, he shows up as an old man with long hair and a beard going on. And all of a sudden, he died. And all of a sudden, I mean, he died, and his soul transferred into a little young schoolgirl with a domino mask, but still is called Father Time. Now, I don't know much about young actresses. I mean, but the actor who I think will be playing the old man version of Father Tom is none other than Mads Mikkelsen. I think he'll be perfect to play the old man version of Father Time. And, I mean, if you ever seen him in movies that he starred in, I mean, I think he's a really good actor. I remember him playing the Le Chiffre on Casino Royale, and I also saw him in the TV series Hannibal. And I have to say, him playing Hannibal Lecter, he was way better than Anthony Hopkins. I mean, no offense to Anthony Hopkins, but he pulled it off pretty well. He showed this sinister, darker side, unlike the Anthony Hopkins corniness with his "I ate his fava beans and I ate his liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti." You don't hear him saying that, but I think that he will be good playing Father Time, the old man, and the young girl. Let's stick with an actress who can play. I mean, either a 10-year-old or 8 or 10-year-old Asian girl who can play a schoolgirl who acts like an old man, and he'll be doing the voiceover. That's my opinion, of course. So, Mads will be good playing Father Time. Now we have the medical doctor. Now, this medical doctor is actually a mummy. And the mummy, he goes by the name, is Collis. Now, Collis here, as you can see, he wears the headgear. He's covered in bandages. He has these Egyptian armor on his ankle and then on his wrists, and carries a staff. But one thing I know about him is that he's a medical doctor. So he's a mummy who also treats soldiers and people who are wounded pretty bad. So he's a military medic, to be precise. Now, mummy-like actors, I think, would pull off playing, medical doctors while, dressing like a mummy. And I picked a perfect actor who probably from Africa, since Egypt is part of Africa. And the perfect actor who I think would be playing Collis is none other than Damon Hassoum. Now, I may not get his name right because I never do get the D's in front of the J's. But I think he would be perfect because I've seen him in other movies. I also seen him in other shows, and I think he would be pretty good playing a mummy who's a military medical doctor. So he has some fighting skills, but also tries to treat the patient while using some Egyptian spells and curse and all. Now, one of the members I heard is that there is a scientist who runs the M Project, who is behind the Creature Commando and Frankenstein. And one of the scientists has a daughter who turns into a fish woman. And her name is actually Nina Mermaid Masakuri. Nina Mermaid Masakuri. Now, in the comic books, when she dives into the water full of fish people and sea creatures, they look at her and they think of her as a goddess. And she's supposed to be very young, so probably like 20 years old. And she helps out Frankenstein when it comes to certain monsters that he cannot handle. So she's kind of like the Abe Sapien to Frankenstein's Hellboy. Now, the only actress who I think will be perfect to play Mermaid is none other than Deva Chase. Now, for those of you who don't know who she is, she did work with Disney, so she did the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, and she also did the voice of Chihiro on Spirited Away, my favorite anime Hayao Miyazaki film. But here's one thing you didn't know: she played Samara on The Ring. That's right, she's the Ring Girl. And I also saw her in I also saw her on a TV show called Big Love. She plays a young girl who escapes from the polygamy cult, and throughout the show, you start to discover that she's off her rocker. She's nuts and very evil. So I think this actress will be really good playing Nina. Try to imagine her looking like a sea girl, like a sea creature girl, and I think she'll pull it off. Now what we need like a Nick Fury-like character. If you remember in the Avengers movie, Nick Fury is like the character who puts the superhero team together and form the Avengers and all. So we need a character who would form the Creature Commando, and I'm between two characters here. There was a U.S. soldier who joined the Creature Commandos, and he round them up and say, "Okay, freaks, let's go do some good." Goes by the name of Matthew Serviv. But of course, one thing I remember in the later comics, he has a daughter named Miranda. So I don't know. I think Miranda here should be like the Nick Fury here. She's the one who rounds up the team and tell the troops what to do, and have Matthew, show up briefly just to check on his daughter. And the cast members who I think would be perfect to play Matthew and Miranda, Matthew would be none other than Christoph Waltz. That's right. The guy from Django Unchained and also Inglourious Buzzards, that Quentin Tarantino war movie. I think he would do pretty good playing Matthew. He's the father who shows up and check on his daughter to see how's everything going. And the daughter, I think, who would be playing her is none other than Diane Kruger. Yeah, I know, I'm picking two foreign actors who is in Glorious Buzzards, but I think she'll be pretty good playing the daughter who rounds up the team and become like the female Nick Fury version of the Creature Commandos. Of course, that's my opinion. Now, my favorite character in the group, which I think should be played by a really good actor, I think it would be Sergeant Vincent Velcro. He's like the vampire member of the group. Even though he sucks blood, but he only sucks the blood of his enemies and not the humans. And he has this Count Dracula vibe in front of him, but I think he'll be perfect. Now, the actor who I think would be really good to play Vincent Velcro will be none other than Jason Isaac. If some of you remember him in Peter Pan movie, he played Captain Hook and also played the British redcoat bad guy on The Patriot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, his appearance do scream out Dracula, and we need like a Dracula-like hero, so I think he'll be perfect playing Vincent Velcro. So he'll be like the vampire soldier who is a patriot. Why not? We always have British actors playing American anyway. So I think Jason will be good playing Vincent Velcro. Now the other actor that I have in mind is, of course, the werewolf member of the team. Now, the werewolf will go by the name of Warren Griffith. Warren Griffith is like the werewolf beast-like member of the Creature Commando team. Now, the actor who I think would be better to play Warren is the same actor that we've seen in tons of movies, and I think it's none other than Jackie Earle Holloway. I think Jackie Earle Holloway would be perfect playing Warren, the werewolf. It'll be kind of interesting seeing him turning into a wolf every time when the full moon rise. Oh, I got a quarter of a moon rising over there. But I think that he would have been perfect because everybody remembered him as Freddy Krueger in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. And also, others remember him as Willie from the Tim Burton Dark Shadows. And also, he also played Rorschach on The Watchmen, which I had to say, his performance as Rorschach, very convincing. Kind of makes me think this actor is on the edge. Now, let's see. No, we already have a Frankenstein-like character. Lucky Tyler. We already have a Frankenstein character who's like the main character, so we don't need another one. Sorry, Lucky. But there's one character who is in a relationship with Lucky Tyler in the comic books. And it's none other than... Gosh, it's getting dark so earlier. Not giving me enough time. Anyway, it is Dr. Medusa Rods. Dr. Medusa Rods. Now, she's a medical doctor, and the chemicals got to her and turned her hair into a snake-like. That's why she looks like a Medusa, but she doesn't have one of those stairs that turn you into stone. So that's good. But in the comic book, she goes into a relationship with Lucky Tyler because Lucky Tyler really likes her. He doesn't care about the snakes in her hair. She likes her the way she is, and she starts liking Lucky too. But one thing I think that she would do is be sort of the one who's going to replace Lady Frankenstein. I mean, since she knows that that Lady Frankenstein dumped main Frankenstein himself, so she decided to have some feelings for Frankenstein and decided to be the next girl in his life. Although he still thinks about, although he still thinks about Lady Frankenstein so much, and he always keeps putting her in a friend zone, but she tries her best, not to intrude if Lady Frankenstein shows up. Now, the perfect actress who I think would be perfect to play Medusa, now this is an actress we've seen in tons of movies and shows, and it's none other than Lena Headey. That's right. The hot mama from Game of Thrones. Now, I never watched Game of Thrones, so don't ask me about the show. I haven't seen it. But I have seen her on other things. She's a really good actress, and she does I mean, imagine her with snakes on her head. She will make a pretty good Medusa. And I think she'll be perfect to play the character where Frankenstein gets himself into a love triangle. And her being a doctor, she does help out a lot along with the mummy, Collis. So, why not a second doctor? Why not a med one? So Lana as Medusa, I think she'll be pretty good, especially with all the snakes in her hair. Now we need to get to the mechanical characters who is in the team. It's getting pretty dark, although it looks light here. Oh yeah. Jake, aka G.I. Robot. Now, he is a soldier, although he's just a plain, ordinary robot created by the army, and they have him to help out the troops in case if any of the troops are wounded or trying to go through a suicide mission that no soldier cannot get through, he can get through. Now, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't speak a single word, so we need a body language kind of actor. And the only actor I think would be perfect to play him is none other than Rayleigh Sanahan. Now, the reason why I choose him is because, believe it or not, he plays Robot Man on Doom Patrol. So, since he plays Robot Man on Doom Patrol, why not he plays G.I. Robot? Although he would not say anything, but he'll be doing a lot of movements in the show, which I think would be perfect. Now we need a part man, part machine who's a member of the group. Now, we have Gunnar McKay. Gunnar McKay, he's a soldier who got wounded in battle, so they rebuilt his body with mechanical parts. So he's kind of like a soldier version of RoboCop. Now, what actor who I think would be perfect to play Gunnar is none other than Michael Fassbender. I choose Michael Fassbender because he's a good actor. I mean, he played Magneto, and he also played the android on Prometheus in that latest Alien movie. So, him playing a character who's part man, part machine may not be so bad. And of course, I think he might be tired playing bad guys, so he should play a good soldier who is also friends to G.I. Robot. Now, the last but surely not the least, the character who is in the Creature Commando is none other than G.I. Robot. No, not Robot. G.I.Zombie. Sorry. G.I.Zombie was a soldier until he was killed in action, and now he goes through his entire mission being a zombie, but he's also patriotic, so he kills other zombies who tries to harm people. And he also has a girlfriend who was once dead, but she came back, but not a zombie. And he's trying not to eat her. Now, the actor who I think would be playing G.I.Zombie is not on my list. So I don't know who'd be perfect to play G.I.Zombie. I don't know if he's going to be a talky one or not. Well, this is my multicast for the day. So if any of you like my multicast video, and if you want to see more, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And also, if there's any other actors who you think would be better to play them, leave a comment down below, and I'll probably agree with you or not agree with you. So this is Multi-Voice Reviewer, aka Michael A. Grimm, telling you all, good night.